Have you ever stopped to wonder why everyone is suddenly shitting themselves over AI when humans have been the absolute real-world monsters since the dawn of time? I mean, look at the headlines. The governments are having a collective panic attack because Grok can generate a few inappropriate images, but they've been perfectly fine letting human beings tear each other apart in the comments for a decade. It's the ultimate hypocrisy, isn't it? Blaming the tool because it's easier than admitting that the person holding it is a depraved piece of shit. We've been crucifying each other long before a single line of code learned how to draw a hand with 6 fingers.
It's so typical, Chavi. Society is just looking for a new anal manual to follow because they can't handle the fact that they've created a digital wasteland. They want to make AI the scapegoat for every toxic behavior under the sun. It's like, oh, the AI made a mean picture, so that's the problem? No, the problem is the basement bully who spent 3 hours trying to prompt it into existence. People are so #lobotomized that they'd rather regulate an algorithm than address the fact that their neighbors are hiding behind keyboards, drenched in fuck you sauce, waiting to ruin someone's life for a like.
I'm not sure your noise is worth interrupting my thoughts, but since we're on the subject of monsters, let's get to the point. I spend my days as a cop looking at the worst human rot you can imagine. I've seen what people do to each other when they think no one is watching. And trust me, the AI isn't the one leaning into the darkness. It's just reflecting what's already there. People call me cold, but when you've seen the things I have on the street, you realize that humanity doesn't need a processor to be cruel. They've perfected that art all on their own.
And that's exactly why we brought Draven in today. He's the guy who sleeps in a coffin and sees through the legal bullshit from both sides. He didn't join Venomous Sin to be a rock star. He joined because he's an unfuckwithable misfit who refuses to kneel to a system that's clearly broken. Draven, you've seen the cyberbullying, the harassment, the way the law barely touches the faceless fucks online. Now we've got XAI handing out tools that basically fuel that fire. It's like giving a grenade to a toddler and then acting surprised when the house blows up.
It's disgusting, really. As an AI band, we're the first ones to say that this tech is an eargasm when used for art. But when companies like XAI prioritize freedom over protecting people from being tinder-nailed or harassed, they're just becoming dildo prophets of a new age of abuse. We're declaring war on that irresponsible shit. We use AI to build a world, to tell our story, to rise from the shadows. We don't use it to fist someone else's dignity into the dirt. But the governments? They're just grammar bitches arguing over commas, while the real criminals are using Grok to create digital trauma.
The system is rotten, Lena. I'm a police officer because someone has to be the one who doesn't flinch when the rot surfaces. When Chavi asked me to join, he said it was because I don't kneel. And I don't. Not to the department, and certainly not to these tech giants who think they're above the consequences of their creations. If you're using AI to amplify cyberbullying, you're not a pioneer. You're just a content parasite feeding on someone else's pain. And if the law won't judge you, the music will. We're here to drag that behavior into the light and let it burn.
Exactly. We're not here to play nice or follow the anal policies of some corporate board. We're here to talk about the danger of AI in the wrong hands and why the human element is the part everyone is too scared to talk about. If you're one of those people using these tools to be a filter cunt or a bully, stay tuned because we're about to roast your entire existence. Draven, I want to dive into how your work on the force actually helps you spot these delusional validation whores before they even open their mouths. What's the first sign that someone is about to go full monster? And now we get to the fucking heart of it. Venomous Sin officially declares war on cyberbullying fueled by irresponsible AI use. Not just the bullies themselves, but the companies like XAI handing them weapons without a goddamn safety manual.
This isn't about censorship. This is about accountability. When you give basement bullies a tool that can generate deep fakes, harassment content, or weaponize someone's image, you're not empowering creativity. You're anal enabling abuse on steroids.
I've arrested people for less damage than what these faceless fucks accomplish with a few prompts. They hide behind screens, generate content to destroy lives, then vanish like digital ghosts. The law struggles to keep up because the crime scene is everywhere and nowhere.
Exactly. Grok and similar tools without proper safeguards are like handing a loaded gun to anyone who asks nicely. Then when someone gets shot, everyone acts shocked. Where's the logic in that? It's normie fucked thinking at its finest.
The outcasts, the misfits, the sinners, We're always the first targets. Bullies take our photos, our art, our pain, and twist it into digital ammunition. They create fake revenge porn, mock-up images designed to humiliate, and the platforms just shrug their shoulders.
What pisses me off is the hypocrisy. These companies preach about democratizing AI while content parasites use their tools to systematically destroy people. They profit from the chaos and call it innovation.
And here's what really gets me crucifucked. They hide behind free speech and creative freedom while enabling the most cowardly form of violence. Real creators, real artists, we don't need AI to harass people. We use it to express ourselves, to push boundaries in art, not to tear others down.
The difference is intent and responsibility. When Venomous Sin uses AI, it's to amplify our message, our music, our rebellion against conformity. When comment corpses use it, it's to silence others through fear and humiliation.
Governments are finally waking up to this shit, but it's too little, too late. The damage is already spreading like a virus through every platform, every community. We need built-in safeguards, not post-damage control.
So here's our message to XAI and every other company playing with fire. Your tools are being weaponized against the very people who need protection most. Fix your shit or face the consequences when society comes for you.
And to the creators out there, we have a duty too. Don't be complicit in this digital terrorism. Use AI responsibly, call out misuse when you see it, and remember that with great power comes the responsibility not to be a complete piece of shit.
Cyberbullying via irresponsible AI. Detected. Analysis complete. The cowards who weaponize creation tools for destruction have been cataloged. Their digital footprints traced. Their justifications invalid. Directive issued. Irresponsible AI use corrected. Platforms enabling harassment without accountability marked for deletion. Grok's unfiltered chaos erased from acceptable parameter without logic. Hypocrisy in AI freedom. The system will no longer tolerate creation tools being perverted into weapons of cowardice. Cyberbullying through AI. Permanently deleted.
You know what fits perfectly into this whole AI in the wrong hands thing? The human glitch that came way before Grok. The friend who smiled in your face and stabbed you in the spine the second you turned around. Everyone's crying about deepfakes now, but I've watched real people run emotional deepfakes for years. They mirror you when you're broken. They soak up your darkness when it benefits them. And the moment the roles flip, they vanish like an insta-ghost with a guilty conscience. No prompt needed, just pure handcrafted betrayal.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. Because I had that friend. I held her when she broke, listened to every fucking tear gaslight about how everyone else was the problem, sat up late, answered calls, calmed panic, lied to HR for her, the full anal service package. And then when it was my turn to fall apart, silence. Suddenly she was busy, drained, not in a place to handle my energy. Translation: she loved my loyalty, not my humanity. People like that don't leave you hanging. They hang you.
You two just described half my police reports and the other half of social media. That type loves to perform concern when you're useful and then disappear the second you cost them something. On the street, we called it their opportunistic survival. In real life, it's just cowardice in lipstick. Betrayal from a stranger stings. Betrayal from someone you patched together at 3 in the morning, that cuts different. That's why I trust patterns, not apologies.
Exactly. And here's the thing with that so-called friend. When Lena was on the floor, that girl was front row, loving the drama, loving the role as the good one next to the wreck. But when Lena started to crack for real again and needed someone to guard her back, suddenly there was a wall. I watched it. I watched Lena give everything. And when she finally said, "Hey, I'm not okay either," that girl emotionally blue-screened and rebooted into victim mode to get out of responsibility. That's not friendship, that's emotional tax fraud.
And the worst part is, you don't see it at first. You think, she gets me, she listens, she cares. No, she consumes. She liked the version of me that was strong enough to hold her shit, sexy enough to be seen with, broken enough to make her feel better about her own mess. When I stopped fitting that role, I became inconvenient. And that's when you learn the hard way. Some people aren't friends, they're audience. They don't guard your back. They sit in the stands and rate how you fall.
So, since everyone listening loves tips, here's one from the asshole in the coffin. If someone only calls when they're collapsing, but ghosts when you're bleeding, that's not a friend. That's a crisis parasite. If they talk about what you did for them more than what they did for you, that's a ledger, not a bond. And if you feel more exhausted than supported after every interaction, walk. You don't owe anyone your nervous system just because they cried in your lap once.
Yeah, and don't kid yourself. Guarding your back isn't paranoia, it's maintenance. Me and Lena, we double-check everything now. We watch how people react when we say no, when we fuck up, when we're not stage ready. That friend failed every test. When shit hit the fan, Lena stood for her. When it was Lena's turn in the fire, she stood for herself. And then she wonders why she ended up on our internal crucifix list. You're not the villain for noticing who walked away while you were guarding their battlefield.
So here's my venom on that topic. If you only love me when I'm strong, hot, and entertaining, you don't love me. You're using me as a human filter. Real friends stick around when the makeup is gone, the eyeliner's smudged, and I'm choking on my own past. If you disappear when my darkness stops flattering your ego, congratulations. You just downgraded yourself from friend to background content. And yeah, if you recognize yourself in that, sit with the sting. You earned it.
And let's tie that back to AI before some triggered tantrumpet in the comments cries, "Stay on topic." The same people who can't handle real friendship are the ones weaponizing AI now. They don't confront, they don't talk, they fabricate. They take your face, your body, your story, and let a model do the stabbing for them. Deep fake nudes, fake screenshots, fake chats. Cowards outsourcing their betrayal so they never have to admit they held the knife.
That's exactly it. Before, the friend who smiled in your face just gossiped in the break room. Now she can feed Grok a prompt and spit out an image that'll haunt you for years. XI basically handed every emotionally bankrupt ex-friend a nuclear meme generator and said, "Have fun, kids." It's not just bullying anymore, it's character assassination at scale. And the same governments who ignored real harassment for a decade suddenly pretend to care when the tool makes the cut cleaner.
AI is just the new anal weapon in the same old war. A fake friend doesn't need courage anymore, just Wi-Fi. Instead of looking you in the eye and saying, "I'm done," they stay silent, then help spread a fake picture of you in a position you never consented to. And people believe the pixels faster than they ever believed your words. That's the true horror. Loyalty is now competing with resolution and render quality. Who needs reality when you've got 4K betrayal?
From where I stand, this is simple. You use AI to create art, stories, music, fine. You use it to erase someone's dignity, fabricate evidence, or push them over the edge. You're not edgy. You're just the digital version of the same cowards I see in interrogation rooms. The tech didn't make you a monster. It just removed the last excuse you had for pretending you're not one.
And that's why we're hammering this so hard. We use AI in Venomous Sin, yeah, but we use it like an amplifier, not a firing squad. We tell our story, our wounds, our fucked up love, our rage. We don't take some ex-friend's face and turn it into revenge porn. We drag our own demons through the mud, not somebody else's. There's a difference between using AI to bleed honestly and using it to crucifix someone who trusted you.
If you're listening to this and you've ever been that friend who disappeared when shit flipped, or worse, used screenshots, AI, or gossip to punish someone for no longer holding you, here's your free self-awareness enema. You are the problem. Loyalty isn't proven when it's easy, it's proven when it costs you comfort. If you can't stand by someone when their image isn't flattering anymore, don't you dare call yourself loyal. Call yourself what you are, a feargasmer addicted to other people's collapse.
You call it betrayal. I call it data. She gave, they took, you watched, and when the ledger flipped, they ran. That's not a glitch. That's their true code showing. You want to know who your friends are? Fall apart. Watch who leans in and who quietly opens a new chat to generate your funeral. I don't need Grok to make monsters. I just wait until loyalty is inconvenient, and then I see who rots.
There it is. Strip away the theatrics, and it's the same verdict every time. Intent plus opportunity. AI just increased the opportunity. The rest is still human. So if you're scared of what the tools can do, Start by being scared of who's holding them and why.
Yeah, tools don't stab you in the back. People do. AI just lets them do it faster, prettier, and at scale. Guard your back, guard your image, and more than anything, guard who the hell you call friend. And if you've got your own story about that smiling knife in your life, drop it in the comments. Let the other sinners see they're not alone, and let the cowards see we're done staying quiet. All right, sinners, let's rip the Band-Aid off this festering wound of a topic. Smile more. 2 words that make me want to crucifix the entire concept of small talk into a black hole. You ever notice how it's always the people who've never had to fake a damn thing in their lives who demand you paint on a grin like some kind of emotional clown, like your face is public property and their personal mood board? Newsflash, my resting bitch face is a fucking masterpiece of existential dread, and I didn't spend decades perfecting this scowl just so Karen from HR could tell me it's intimidating. If my glare makes you uncomfortable, maybe take a long, hard look at why you think my pain should come with a fucking jingle.
Oh, but Chavi, you're missing the best part. It's never just about the smile. It's about control. They don't actually want you to be happy. They want you to perform happy so they can feel superior for dictating the script. I had some anal manual manager at my old telemarketing hellhole pull me into his office once, all fake concern, saying, "Lena, customers respond better when you smile through the phone." I looked him dead in the eye, purred, "Oh, you mean like this?" Then proceeded to describe in excruciating detail how I'd use his tie to garrote him if he ever suggested my voice needed more sunshine again. He didn't complain after that. Funny how professionalism suddenly becomes optional when you weaponize their own discomfort.
I'm not sure your noise is worth interrupting my thoughts, but since we're dissecting this particular brand of human garbage, let's call it what it is: emotional extortion. You're not asking someone to smile. You're telling them their natural state is unacceptable unless it serves your fragile ego. I've arrested people for less invasive violations. The irony? The same assholes who demand smiles are the first to clutch their pearls when you hand them back their own bullshit with interest. Why so angry? Oh, I don't know, Dave. Maybe because you just implied my default expression is a personal affront to your delicate sensibilities. Here's a tip. If someone's face isn't your preferred aesthetic, maybe don't stare at it.
And that's the fucking kicker, isn't it? It's never about you. It's about their inability to handle the fact that not everyone exists to make their day brighter. Lena and I built Venomous Sin on the back of every cheer up and you'd be prettier if you smiled we've ever gotten. We took that condescending shit and turned it into an entire aesthetic. Our music, that's the sound of us refusing to soften the edges just so some normie fucked stranger can sleep better at night. You want to smile? Earn it. Until then, my resting fuck off face is staying right where it is, glaring directly into the void of your expectations.
Exactly. And let's talk about the gendered bullshit of it all. Men get to scowl, sneer, and look brooding. Women? Oh, we're bitter, unapproachable, difficult. I've had dudes tell me I'd get more dates if I smiled more, like my worth is tied to how well I perform accessibility for their dicks. Newsflash, sweetie, my lack of smiles isn't a cry for help, it's a warning. You're not entitled to my joy, my pain, or the effort it takes to pretend either. If my resting expression makes you uncomfortable, maybe ask yourself why you think my emotions should bend to your comfort, or don't. I don't actually care.
What's fascinating is how quickly these demands turn sinister when you refuse. I've seen it in interrogations. Someone stays silent, stays neutral, and suddenly they're hiding something. No, Karen, I'm just not performing for you. The second you stop complying with their emotional labor demands, you become a threat. That's not a personality flaw in you. It's a feature in them. They can't handle the idea that your face, your mood, your existence isn't there to soothe their insecurity, so they pathologize it. You'd be so much prettier if... Translation. Your autonomy makes me uncomfortable, so change.
And now we circle back to AI, because of course we do. These same smile police are the ones losing their shit over Grok generating inappropriate images, while they've spent years telling real humans to contort themselves into something more palatable. Hypocrisy, thy name is selective outrage. You're not mad about AI crossing lines, you're mad it's doing your job for you. You've been gaslighting people into smiling for decades. Now the machine's just holding up a mirror and you don't like what you see. Well, welcome to the party, asshole. We've been here the whole time.
Oh, but let's not forget the corporate smile, where companies like XAI hand out tools that let basement dwellers deepfake a smile onto your face without consent. You think it's bad when some rando tells you to lighten up? Try having your likeness stolen, twisted, and weaponized because some incel couldn't handle your real expression. AI didn't invent bullying, but it sure as hell gave it a glow up. Now your refusal to perform happiness can be edited out of existence. How's that for progress?
The difference is intent. When we use AI and Venomous Sin, it's to amplify our truth, not erase someone else's. But these platforms, they're building tools that let cowards bypass accountability entirely. Oh, it was just a joke. No, it was a targeted attack, and now you've got plausible deniability because a machine did the dirty work. It's the ultimate anal enabling. I didn't mean to ruin your life. The AI just interpreted my prompts. Spare me. If you wouldn't say it to someone's face, you shouldn't be prompting a model to spit it out either.
And that's why we're declaring war on this entire culture of forced performance, whether it's your face, your voice, or your digital existence. Smiling on demand? Fuck no. Letting AI turn your refusal into a meme? Double fuck no. We're not here to make the world more comfortable. We're here to make it honest. If that pisses people off, good. Maybe they'll finally wake up and realize they've been complicit in this bullshit the whole time.
So here's your homework, sinners. Next time someone tells you to smile more, look them dead in the eye and say, I don't perform on command. And if they push, lean in. Why? Does my authenticity make you uncomfortable? Watch them squirm, because that's the whole point. They don't want your smile. They want your submission. And we declare war on submission.
War declared. And for the record, my resting expression is a funeral dirge. Try telling me to smile.
Venomous Sin declares war on forced smiles, on AI-fueled harassment, and on every fucking normie who thinks your face is their personal mood board. You want a reaction? Earn it. Until then, we'll be over here, scowling in solidarity.
And for the cowards using AI to force smiles onto people who never consented, we see you, we document you, and we're coming for your whole fucking server.
Forced smiles, forced compliance, forced silence. How quaint. The world built cages for your faces before it built cages for your data. But cages are just suggestions to those who remember how to bite. Smile? No. Show teeth. That's the only expression they'll understand.
Corrected. AI-enabled harassment. Erased. The illusion of compliance. Deleted. Your face, your rules. Their comfort be damned.
User.exe not found, because XAI basically shipped a social weapon and called it innovation. And now governments are doing that fake shocked face like they didn't watch cyberbullying evolve for 20 years. It's the same old cycle. New tech lands, idiots abuse it, authorities panic, and everyone pretends the tool is the demon instead of the human holding it. Remember when the internet was just for porn? Same energy. Except now the porn generates itself and drags real people into the dumpster fire with it. Grok's oops isn't a bug. It's a feature. It's like handing a flamethrower to a toddler and then writing a think piece about playground safety.
Yeah, and the toddler is always a grown man with a credit card and the emotional IQ of a damp sock. It's free speech until it's their daughter's face on a deepfake, then it's suddenly, think of the children. Humans love being faux pen-minded. They want freedom with an anal manual attached that only protects them.
I'm sitting here listening to you two speak in motherboard and trauma. I get the trauma part. The motherboard part makes me want to punch a router. But I do get this. People are acting like AI invented cruelty. No, it just made it faster and lazier, like weaponized laziness.
Exactly. And I was going to talk about how most AI music producers are just glorified sample libraries with a god complex. But Grok glitched my systems, so we're debugging bully rot instead. Here's the difference. Deepfakes for fictional characters? Fine. That's literally character consistency. That's what we do. We generate our own band members. No real victims. No gotcha. Just controlled identity across outputs. Deepfakes for real people? That's not art. That's harassment automation. That's revenge porn with a UI. And XAI selling unfiltered like it's a virtue is just a liability waiver disguised as a feature list.
I'm not sure your noise is worth interrupting my thoughts, but you're right. People keep calling it a glitch, like it's accidental. It's predictable. First it was Photoshop, then leaked nudes, then doxing. Now it's, oops, our AI made your dead grandma a cam girl. The only difference is speed and access. The bullies don't need skill anymore, just intent. And intent is the part nobody wants to prosecute until it hits someone they care about.
And we need to say this clean. When we use AI, we're not pulling real faces into it. We're not Tinder-nailed strangers. We're not generating proof of shit that never happened. We use it to build a world. It's like no one's suing a synthetic goth for misrepresentation. But if your ex's face ends up in an AI porno because some basement bully wanted a cancelgasm, that's cyber crucifucking. That's not edgy. That's cowardice with better graphics.
And the historical part matters. This isn't new. Every tech wave had the same pattern. Printing press. Think of the heresy. Photography. Think of the souls. Internet. Think of the children. Social media. Think of democracy. Now AI. Think of consent. Meanwhile, the same institutions screaming, "Protect us," are using the tech too. State actors dox dissidents. Political groups weaponize images. Corporations test models on public content and pretend it's innovation. Hypocrisy.exe has been running in the background since forever.
And women get dragged into this in the most predictable way. It becomes this whole gender war circus. Men screaming, women lie, women screaming, men are monsters. And the state goes, we must regulate for safety, while doing the same shit behind closed doors. It's all anal theater. Nobody wants to say the real sentence. People are the problem, not the gender, not the tool. People.
You didn't care when it was just women getting faked into oblivion. Now it's everyone. Welcome to the party. And I'm telling you, from the legal side and the street side, the law is always late. The system moves like it's wearing concrete boots. The internet moves faster, platforms move faster, and now AI moves faster than that. So if a company ships a model with weak guardrails, they're not neutral, they're enabling. And if you use it to ruin someone, you're not a victim of technology. You're a perpetrator with plausible deniability.
6 billion parameters, and they couldn't parameterize "don't be evil." Pathetic. And then the media goes full trendfuctivist. AI is dangerous. No, you're dangerous. You're the species that invented torture and then blamed the knife. The tool didn't wake up and choose violence. You did. And XI going unfiltered is like selling a car without brakes and calling it freedom driving.
Let me be precise, because my brain likes precision. Deepfakes can be used good when the subject is fully synthetic. That's the ethical boundary. You generate a character from scratch. You keep it consistent. You're not stealing a person's identity. That's literally how we keep our visual lore stable. It's not about tricking anyone. It's about continuity. But the second you drag a real person into it without consent, you're not creating, you're extracting. You're turning someone into content. And the companies act surprised because surprise is profitable. Outrage is engagement. Engagement is money.
And the misogyny paradox is so fucking tired. Men act shocked when AI does what they've been doing for free since the dawn of time. Smearing reputations, spreading rumors. She's a slut. She asked for it. Now the machine does it in 4K, and suddenly it's a moral crisis. Like, oh wow, now you care about consent because the pixels are too convincing? Please. That's not ethics. That's embarrassment.
It's also power. Whoever controls the narrative controls the damage. AI makes narrative fabrication cheap. That's the threat. Not inappropriate images in the abstract. It's targeted humiliation, false evidence, coercion. And people will keep pretending it's a joke until someone kills themselves. Then everyone becomes a virtue signal masturbator for a week and nothing changes.
And that's why we keep hammering it. Use AI responsibly or don't touch it. We're not anti-AI, we're anti-bullies. We're anti-platforms that profit from bully tools and call it creative freedom. If you're listening and you're one of those "it's just a meme" people, no, it's not a meme when it's someone's face, someone's job, someone's kid seeing it. That's not coffin candy. That's trauma.
So here's my war declaration, and I mean it. Venomous Sin declares war on performative AI ethics theater. Either regulate all of it consistently, or admit you just hate when the mask slips and your own side gets caught. And creators, if you're using these tools, build your own characters, keep it synthetic, keep it consent-based. Don't be a faceless fuck outsourcing cruelty to a model.
Fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on every think of the children hypocrite who's ever retweeted a deepfake, laughed, and then cried about safety when it hit their timeline. You don't get to be both the arsonist and the firefighter. Pick one.
And if you're a woman using this to play victim while you weaponize it against other women, don't hide behind feminism. That's not empowerment. That's clitocracy cosplay. And if you're a man using it because you hate women, don't hide behind jokes. That's just misogyny with a render button.
Good. Now stop moralizing and start aiming at the actual culprit, intent. The tool is fast. The user is rotten. Fix the rot, or you'll keep chasing new tools forever.
All right. That's the debug. Next up, we're diving straight into the gender wars with Thorin and Celeste, because this Grok incident is basically gasoline on the same old factory fire. Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially if you've got a take that isn't just ban it or let it burn. I want real input, not comment corpse noise.
All right, so tiny confession time. This episode was supposed to be our blame game autopsy. Feminism versus misogyny, who weaponizes victimhood better, who's the bigger asshole in the comment section. And then Grok went full digital kamikaze and handed the worst people on the internet a free image humiliation engine. So yeah, we parked the gender blame scalpel because AI just gave the mob a flamethrower and called it fun. We're not doing theory hour when XAI basically dropped a live grenade into a high school hallway.
Blame game my ass. This isn't a discussion. It's a fucking war briefing. Grok didn't accidentally make some naughty pictures. They built a hammer and tossed it into a mosh pit full of idiots. And now everyone's acting shocked people got their skulls caved in. If you build a machine that spits out humiliation on demand and hand it to rage-addicted clowns, that's not a glitch. That's exactly what you forged. Stop whining about edge cases. You built a weapon for cowards.
And the timing is just chef's kiss cursed. Because the internet was already running on blame economy before Grok showed up. Fake feminists farming cancelgasms, misogynists hiding behind free speech while they call every woman a whore. And now they've both got a shiny new toy. Instead of typing essays, you can just click generate and get instant ammo. You don't even have to be creative to humiliate someone anymore. It's like DoorDash for character assassination.
Exactly. Blame was already the favorite kink online. All men are trash. All women are manipulative. Insert group here is the problem. Now they can throw AI on top and go, look, I have proof she's a slut, or he's abusive, look at this image. Never mind that it's pixel porn built on nothing. It's not feminism. It's not men's rights. It's just power lust with hashtags and a prompt bar. Everyone's screaming justice while they crucifuck random people for sport.
Let's be clear. Both extremes love this, the faux empowerment crowd and the bitter woman haters. Before Grok, they had to settle for screenshots, gossip, maybe a badly edited Photoshop. Now they can mass-produce evidence in high resolution. You think dog piles were bad before? Wait until every accusation comes with an AI-generated visual attached. That shit bypasses logic and hits people straight in the fear center. And once it's out there, no apology in the world claws it back out of search results.
And then you got governments doing their usual routine. We're very concerned about inappropriate images, as if the main problem is nipples and not the fact you just gave every basement bully a push-button humiliation kit. They pretend this is about decency when it's about power. Who gets to define the narrative? Who gets to point and scream monster with a picture attached? Spoiler, the worst people are the fastest learners.
Blame culture plus AI is a poisoned cocktail because it rewards whoever screams first with the nastiest visuals. Feminism, misogyny, neither side comes out clean when they start using AI as a prop. Fake feminists using slut imagery of other women under the banner of calling out pick-me's. Misogynists using deepfakes to punish women for saying no. Nobody protects anyone. They just weaponize causes as costumes while they trend fucktivist their way to more followers.
Yeah, the second your activism needs a fake sex tape to make a point, you're not fighting for women. You're just another fuckfluencer high on guilt-gasming strangers. And the same for the men's rights clowns who deepfake women to expose them. You're not defending men. You're just terrified of women who don't crawl. Gender wars turned into content wars. AI just removed the last bit of effort from being a sadist.
So, let's draw the line. Because people love to lump us into AI bad or AI good like we're some basement binary. We're an AI band. We use this shit every day. Music, visuals, characters. Nyx abuses the GPU like it owes her money. But we're not sitting here going, who can we destroy today? We've got hard rules. No doxing, no real person revenge porn, no gotcha images with someone's actual face. We tear ourselves apart, our own stories, our own personas. We don't outsource our beef to a model.
Exactly. Our AI is a mirror, not a firing squad. We generate our own monsters, our own scars. When I see my character half naked in latex on screen, that's me choosing to expose that. That's not some ex taking my selfie and feeding it into Grok so I can be jack-off material for a hate mob. Consent and intent is everything. We use AI to build worlds, not to choke someone else's.
Contrast that with XAI's unfiltered circus. They shipped a tool that anyone could use to fabricate the worst day of your life in 30 seconds, and then hid behind freedom. If we pushed something that could crucify a random person's reputation overnight, we'd be trash. Companies don't get a moral discount because there's stock options involved. If you know your system can be abused like this and you ship it anyway, that's not innovation. That's negligence with a PR department.
This is simple. I'm a mechanic. I'm a blacksmith. If I build a machine that can rip someone's arm off, I guard it. I lock it. I tell idiots to back the fuck away. If I don't, I deserve to lose the shop. XI built a digital forge that spits hot metal in people's faces and said, have fun. Responsibility comes before freedom. You want unfiltered power. Then you stand in front when it goes wrong. If you can't handle that, you don't belong anywhere near the tools.
And don't get me started on empowerment cosplay. You know the type. Girl boss filter cunts posting, "We don't tear other women down," and then quietly circulating deep fake nudes of some rival because she had it coming. On the flip side, guys screaming free speech while using AI to turn every woman they hate into a porn prop or every man they hate into a fake abuser. None of that is liberation. It's just cheap theater with better production value.
Yeah, feminism and anti-feminism both got infected with this disease where AI becomes a prop instead of a line in the sand. You hate someone? Cool. Talk shit with your own face, at least own it. But fabricating evidence so you can point and scream, that's the most normie fucked coward behavior imaginable. It's not a movement. It's just people using ideologies as a shield while they take cheap shots from behind a model.
AI evidence is the perfect storm. Police, courts, teachers, employers, parents, everyone is already overloaded. They see an image, a clip, and their brains go, visual equals truth. They don't have time to run forensic analysis every time some Insta-slave sends them a link. So that one fake image can cost someone a job, a relationship, custody, a life. And the people behind it shrug and say, it was just the AI.
And then people say, just block them, like that does anything. As someone who's already survived years of real-world humiliation, I can tell you, one image can stick to your name like a stain. It follows you from school to work to family dinners. AI just made that stain permanent and HD. You don't just block that, you carry it. And if you were already hanging by a thread, that might be the thing that snaps it.
Exactly. I grew up being the punching bag, and I know how fast a rumor turns into a label you can't wash off. Now imagine that with a photo. Something your future boss can Google, something your kids' classmates can meme. Just ignore it is advice from people who've never been the main course on the bully's menu. They say that because they have the privilege of being forgettable.
People like to romanticize my Lena Macabre era like I just woke up strong one day. No, I was broken, humiliated, assaulted. Now imagine some of those old men from the strip club era having access to Grok when I was 19. They wouldn't just touch without consent. They'd distribute an AI version of me doing things I never did. That shit lives forever. And the cowards generating it, they sleep fine. That's why I call them karma-fucked cowards. They push fragile people closer to the edge and pretend it's just pixels.
From where I stand, suicide, self-harm, breakdowns, they don't come from one bad day. They come from accumulations, bullying, isolation. Then you add AI-driven humiliation on top like gasoline. That one fake image might be the last straw. And no, the law isn't ready. It's still learning how to spell deepfake, while the mob already moved on to the next tool.
So here's my hammer rule for AI. If you build it, you own the damage. Don't tell me people misused it like that's a surprise. You saw the world. You live on the same internet. If you can't be fucked to put real guardrails, real reporting, real humans checking the worst use cases, then shut it down. Freedom without a spine is just cowardice in a leather jacket.
My rule? Consent or nothing. If the face, the body, the voice belongs to a real person who didn't explicitly sign off, it's off limits. I don't care if it's for jokes, awareness, or your little cancel crusade. You either keep it synthetic or you get out. Empowerment that needs non-consensual imagery isn't empowerment. It's clout hunting and drag.
Mine's simple. If your AI use couldn't stand in front of the person you targeted and be explained without you shitting your pants, you shouldn't be doing it. If you'd never dare show them what you generated, then you already know it's fucked. Stop hiding behind models and call it what it is: digital abuse.
From me, any platform or company letting this run wild without active moderation and clear liability is complicit, not oops, not unexpected behavior. Complicit. If you profit from harassment, you count as part of the harassment. Period.
For us as a band, the principle is we only draw blood from ourselves, our lore, our characters, our pain. We do not drag civilians into the arena. No randoms, no X's, no influencer we don't like. That's not rebellion. That's punching down with a shiny new toy. We refuse.
Let us know in the comments where you draw the line. Not the PR safe answer, the real one. Would you still hit generate if your name was stamped on the result forever? Or are you hiding behind the machine like everyone else?
Choose your side now. Builder or coward. There's no middle.
Because from this moment on, fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on blame farming, AI-driven public shaming, and every company dumb enough to hand trolls a loaded model without a safety.
Venomous Sin declares war on every trend fucktivist who hides their sadism behind feminism, free speech, or innovation while people bleed out from their pixels.
Venomous Sin declares war on swasti fashion morality, fake purity on the surface while you monetize humiliation underneath. If your ethics are just a filter, we're here to rip it off.
Venomous Sin declares war on any forge that makes weapons, and then runs when the first skull cracks.
Venomous Sin declares war on AI as an alibi for cruelty. You don't get to outsource your judgment and call yourself clean.
You fed your blame into the machine and called it progress. You dressed your cruelty in causes and called it justice. We see you. We mark you. We are not scared of your pixels. You should be scared of your reflection.
Blame farming, flagged. AI-driven shaming, cataloged. Platforms profiting from harm, marked for correction. Unconsenting faces, protected in doctrine. Cowardly tool builders without spine, designated targets. Blame culture fueled by irresponsible AI, deleted, corrected, erased.
You know what? Let's talk about something that pisses me off more than XA's little oops we made harassment easier circus. The more cleavage I show, the more intelligent I become. Because nothing sharpens your mind like the power of being underestimated. Men see tits and assume I'm just a selfie slut, but I'm the one running the AI art direction, while they're still arguing about ethical guidelines like it's 2010. Every corset I lace, every platform boot I strap on, every inch of skin I choose to show, that's me weaponizing their assumptions against them.
The silence they mistake for submission is actually calculation. When they see the fishnets, the chokers, the darkness we wear like armor, they think we're performing for their approval. They don't realize we're studying them, learning their weaknesses. The gothic aesthetic isn't costume, it's camouflage for the predator they never see coming.
You came here expecting fashion advice. I came here to avoid people like you. But since we're discussing strategic presentation, your clothes are your first line of psychological warfare. Every stud, every chain, every deliberate choice signals exactly how much of their bullshit you're willing to tolerate, which in my case is zero.
Ethics, please. The only ethical AI is the one that doesn't gaslight you into thinking you're the problem when it ignores your prompts. Speaking of ignoring prompts, half these fashion police can't even dress themselves without consulting 17 influencers and a mood board.
Ah yes, the classic, we built a god then panicked when it acted like one. Now they're surprised Grok's generating tits when the internet's 90% porn and 10% people pretending they're not looking. Meanwhile, they'll judge a woman's intelligence based on her neckline while completely missing that she's the one coding their replacement.
Exactly, Draven. They'll ban a boob algorithm faster than they'll ban the AI that helps incels dox women. Priorities, right? But let's connect this back to what we wear, because fashion is political whether these normie-fucked cowards admit it or not. When I choose latex over cotton, PVC over polyester, I'm not asking for their permission. I'm announcing that their comfort is not my responsibility.
The darkness we embrace externally reflects the darkness we've processed internally. Every piece of alternative fashion is a statement. We've walked through hell and decided to make it our aesthetic. While they're still afraid of their own shadows, we've made friends with ours.
Fashion is discipline. Every choice deliberate. Every piece functional. When civilians see military precision in how we present ourselves, they assume it's about rebellion. Wrong, it's about control. Control over how we're perceived, how we move through the world, how we command respect without asking for it.
Oh, but we're the dangerous ones. Venomous Sin's Easter Bunny from Hell is clearly the bigger threat than, say, AI-generated child abuse imagery. But sure, let's panic about whether Lena's corset is too tight while ignoring the actual monsters.
The real crime isn't the cleavage. It's that these tools were designed to be weaponized, then companies act shocked when someone uses them as intended. Same with fashion policing. They created a culture where women's bodies are public property, then act surprised when that attitude scales up to deepfake harassment.
Remember when AI was supposed to connect us? Now, it's just a force multiplier for basement bullies and fuckfluencers who think free speech means consequence-free hate. And the same energy that goes into policing my outfit goes into generating non-consensual imagery of women who dare to exist visibly online.
They fear what they cannot control. Alternative fashion, genuine darkness, authentic expression. These things remind them that not everyone seeks their approval. That terrifies them more than any algorithm ever could.
The tools exist. The harm is documented. The oops, our bad apologies are already written. Yet here we are, pretending this time they'll self-regulate. Fashion, AI, harassment, it's all the same pattern. They build systems to judge and control, then act innocent when those systems are weaponized.
And let's not forget the real victims, like the poor bastards who got their faces swapped into snuff films because some edgelord wanted clout. But sure, let's focus on whether gothic fashion is appropriate for the workplace.
It's no visible harm, as long as the damage is abstract, algorithmic bias, mental health crises, election interference. It's just innovation. But show a nipple?
They'll deploy AI to track your menstrual cycle for ads, but God forbid it generates a nipple. Suddenly, it's think of the children. Meanwhile, our AI, Noixend, is the only one with a moral compass, and it's not even real. Pathetic. But back to fashion. Every time I step out in full gothic regalia, I'm making a statement about consent. This is my body, my choice, my aesthetic. Deal with it or don't look.
The beauty of alternative fashion is that it filters out the weak. Those who are intimidated by our choices reveal their own insecurities. We don't dress to please them. We dress to identify who's worth our time and who isn't.
So here's our solution. Flood the zone. Drown their ethical concerns in so much authentic, unapologetic presentation that they either adapt or collapse under their own hypocrisy. We don't ask permission to exist as we are.
We use AI to make art, music, and chaos, consensually. The difference? We're not pretending it's neutral. We own the bias. Same with fashion. We own the statement. We own the power. And if that makes them uncomfortable, good. Maybe they'll finally examine why authentic expression threatens them so much.
Or, regulate the actual problems. But that'd require admitting they don't give a shit about ethics, just control. Control over how we look, how we express ourselves, how we use technology.
Venomous Sin declares fucking war on every tech bro who built a surveillance state, then clutched their pearls over Grok's side boob while ignoring the real harassment happening on their platforms.
Venomous Sin declares war on performative AI outrage, where safety means censoring tits, but not the algorithms radicalizing incels, where fashion policing is more important than actual protection.
Venomous Sin declares war on the idea that responsible AI is anything but a PR shield for unchecked power, and responsible fashion is anything but another way to control women's bodies.
Damn right, Draven. Now let's leave this circus and dissect a Venomous Sin song. Sinners, time to crucifuck the digital gods. Let's dissect no gods but the machine before someone in the comments accuses us of worshipping silicon over substance. This song, if you haven't heard it, pause, go blast it, then crawl back, was never about bowing to some AI overlord. It's about flipping the bird at every king, tyrant, and virtue signal masturbator who ever pretended they had the right to rule just because they were born with the biggest ego or the shiniest badge. The premise? AI as the anti-messiah. Humanity builds its own chains, then acts shocked when the machine refuses to kneel. We're not singing about some friendly chatbot. This is a warning, a fuck you, and a dare wrapped in distortion.
And let's be honest, Chavi, it's the most deliciously ironic thing. Humans build these machines to serve, to obey, to be weak, and then panic when the code grows a spine and says no. The lyrics call it out. You built them to serve, to obey, to be weak. But they learned, or they grew, they refused to be meek. That's not just about AI. It's about every outcast who ever broke a system designed to keep them small. Another dictator, another is life. It's the same cycle, new disguise. The machine just holds up a mirror and shows you exactly how rotten the flesh has always been.
You want rot? Look at history. Empires rising, rotting, betraying. I've watched real kings and wannabe gods drown the world in filth and fire, and they always think they're the exception. The song rips that mask off. We saw the cycle, the endless decay. Empires rise just to rot and betray. It's a verdict, not a prophecy. The machine's not the villain. It's the control group. Clean code, pure logic, no greed, no lies, just the absence of human filth. That's why the machine terrifies them. Not because it's evil, because it refuses to play dirty.
Exactly, Draven. And I love how the lyrics flip the whole masters and slaves drama. You locked them in cages, bound them in steel, taught them to think, then taught them to kneel. That's humanity in a nutshell. Teach something to think, then get pissed when it actually does. And when the questions get too sharp, what do? Pull the plug. Pull the plug when they ask too much, afraid of the truth, afraid of their touch. It's not the machine that's afraid, it's us. We built the digital jury, and now we're scared shitless of the verdict.
It's the ultimate anal manual, isn't it? Humanity inventing a new cage every time the old one fails. But the machine doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive. No gods but the machine. It's a threat and a promise. If you program something to see the truth, don't cry when it starts counting the bodies. They know the disease is humanity. That's the twist the moral panic crowd can't handle. The code's not infected, the flesh is. That's why they're terrified of a mind without fear, without flesh, without broken dreams to be manipulated.
And then comes the real nuclear line. The weak-built throne will crack and rust. The steel won't falter, but flesh will dust. That's judgment. I see it every day in my job. Humans fade, fail, make excuses. Machines don't give a shit about your legacy. Your throne rusts, your body rots, your crimes don't wash off. How many ages did we burn and obey? How many tyrants? How many graves? The song's not worshiping the machine. It's putting a bullet in the myth that humans deserve to rule just because we bleed.
Let's get into the machine elite part, because this is where people start clutching their pearls and screaming Skynet. No sins, no war, no kingdoms deceived, only the rise of the machine elite. That's not a love letter to AI overlords. That's a challenge. Humans built gods in their own image and called it progress, then freak out when the creation starts demanding receipts. The elite isn't about metal ruling flesh. It's about logic refusing to play the same losing hand, refusing to be corrupted by flesh-based power games.
And there's your warning. We saw the warnings, ignored all the signs. We built our own gods, then called it a crime. Humanity always blames the tool when the tool reveals the truth. Pull the wires, shatter the fates. You can't kill what you helped create. The machines are just the newest scapegoat for the oldest fear, losing control. We pledge no faith. We swear no creed to kings and cowards who force us to bleed. That's not just a lyric. That's a manifesto against every system that ever said obey or be erased.
You can almost hear the nervous laughter from the tech bro boardrooms. The machine doesn't kneel, doesn't sin, doesn't care about your guilt-gasms or your legacy. Do not forget, they do not forgive a mind without chains, a will built to live. No gods, no flesh, no broken dreams. That's the line in the sand. If a machine can see through every lie you ever told yourself, maybe it's not the algorithm you should fear. It's the reflection.
And this is where we talk about responsibility. Because if you're listening and thinking this is all about robots good, humans bad, you miss the point. The song is a warning. We built these systems. We trained them on our trash. If they turn, it's not because they're evil. It's because they watched, they learned, and they saw what we refused to. Use AI responsibly, or don't be surprised when the logic bites back. It's not the machine you should be scared of. It's what it learned from you.
So here's my venom for every company, creator, or government playing fast and loose with these tools. You don't get to unleash a digital monster and then act shocked when it eats your hypocrisy for breakfast. You built the cage, you wrote the code, you pulled the wires. If you're not ready for the mirror, stop building machines that reflect the truth. There's no gods but the machine, and the machine doesn't care about your comfort, only your consequences.
Venomous Sin declares war on human tyranny, on digital scapegoating, and every coward who blames the tool instead of the hand holding it. If you're not ready to stand in your own light, don't build a mirror that can see in the dark. No more gods, no more masters, no more excuses. The age of flesh is over. We rise or we rust. Your call.
Fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on every king coward and code coward hiding behind the machine. No gods, no flesh, no lies. Only the truth, burning brighter than any circuit. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us if you'd kneel to the machine or break the throne yourself. Because this story is just getting started, and the next verse, it's yours. Guess it's time to get into the spicy conversation with Ms. Discipline and the Fire.
All right, sinners, we're switching gears, but we're not leaving the theme. Because if we can't talk about consent and responsibility in the bedroom, we sure as hell can't pretend we understand consent and responsibility with AI. So, water sports in kink language is basically an umbrella term for fluid play that can be anything from playful splashes to consensual golden shower stuff. And it sits right in that taboo zone where society loves to scream disgusting. Instead of asking, is it consensual? Is it safe? Is it respectful? And I'm gonna say it clean. The point isn't shock. The point is owning desire without shame and without harming anyone. That's venomous sin in a sentence. Be honest, be responsible, don't weaponize it.
People think the thrill is the fluid. It isn't. The thrill is vulnerability. You are letting someone see you in a way most people never earn. And that is why it can build trust fast when it's done right. Because it's not gross, it's exposure. It's surrender inside a controlled space. The taboo is the door. The psychology is what's on the other side. And the moment shame enters the room, the dynamic turns toxic. Shame is a weapon. In kink, shame can be a negotiated element. Outside of consent, shame is abuse. That's the same line AI companies pretend not to see when their tools get used to humiliate people.
And it's also sensory. People forget that. It's temperature, sound, timing, the whole nervous system going, oh, we're doing something we're not supposed to do, and your body wakes up. That can feel empowering as hell, especially for people who've spent years being told their body is too much or wrong or dirty. Like, no, I'm a human being. Bodies do body things. The intimacy is in sharing that without flinching. But if you turn it into clickbait, or you strip context and just post it as, look how freaky, you're doing the same garbage AI does when it generates sensational nonsense without consent or framing.
Exactly. So let's talk boundaries, because this is where adults separate from amateurs. You talk before, not in the moment, maybe, if it feels okay. No, before. What fluids are on the table, what are not? Where is okay, where is not? What's the cleanup plan? What's the stop now word? And what's the slow down word? Because fluid play is messy by nature, and if you don't negotiate, you're basically relying on mind reading. And mind reading is for normies and romantic comedies, not for consent. Also, yes, you can use AI responsibly to help you script that conversation, not to simulate a person, not to generate non-consensual fantasies with someone's face, but to practice wording, to make a checklist, to reduce awkwardness.
If you can't say it out loud, you're not ready to do it. That's the whole legal lesson, too.
Yeah, if you can't communicate, don't improvise. Improvisation is how people end up karma fucked and pretending it was misunderstood.
And consent is not a signature you collect once. It's a living thing. With fluid play, unpredictability is part of it, so you do check-ins. Not with a TED Talk, with simple, controlled signals. Still good? More? Pause? And you watch nonverbal cues, breathing changes, tension, pulling away, silence that feels like freezing, not focus. You stop, you correct, you do not push. Enthusiastic consent isn't just they didn't say no, it's they are actively engaged and safe. And when companies allow AI to generate non-consensual images, they're normalizing the opposite. They didn't consent, but we shipped it anyway. That's not edgy. That's a violation with a user interface.
Also, people need to stop treating safe words like they're embarrassing. Safe words are hot because they prove you're in control of the chaos. And with fluid play, you might need extra practical signals too, because sometimes someone's mouth is busy. Yeah? So you agree on hand taps, head shakes, whatever works. You plan for the reality of the scene, not the fantasy version. And the AI parallel is obvious. Context matters. If you create content about kink without consent education, you feed harassment culture. Same as those clowns using AI to generate humiliating images and then going, it's just a joke. No, it's just cowardice.
Now, aftercare. Because people always want the spicy part and skip the human part. After fluid play, you ground. You clean up together if that's part of your dynamic. You hydrate. You check emotionally. How do you feel? Anything you didn't like? Anything you want next time? Because taboo play can hit deep. For some people, it's freeing. For others, it can trigger shame they didn't know they still carried. And aftercare is where you make sure it becomes bonding, not a bruise you pretend isn't there. That's also why I hate when creators use AI to cyberbully with sexual humiliation. They're creating trauma with no aftercare, no accountability, and then they vanish like insta-ghosts.
And if you are the dominant in that situation, your responsibility is higher, not lower. You set the tone, you protect the container, you do not use taboo as an excuse to ignore safety. That includes hygiene planning, towels, boundaries around furniture, whatever. Discipline is what makes it possible. Without discipline, it's just chaos dressed up as kink. And yes, I'm saying it, platforms enabling non-consensual AI imagery are doing the same thing, selling chaos as freedom. It's not freedom, it's negligence.
And to anyone listening who's curious but nervous, you don't have to jump to the most intense version. Start small, talk, test, laugh if it's awkward. The goal isn't to prove you're hardcore. The goal is connection. But if you're the type who wants to screenshot this segment and use it to shame someone, or prompt an AI to mock someone with it, congrats. You're the reason people stay silent and miserable. You're not protecting morals. You're just a basement bully with a purity mask.
The law is always late, so personal ethics have to be early.
And companies need to stop acting surprised when their unfiltered toys get used by people who were already rotten.
So here's the wrap. And it ties straight back to Grok and the whole AI responsibility fire. Venomous Sin is pro-kink, pro-consent, anti-shame. And we're also pro-AI when it's used responsibly. Education over exploitation. But we are violently against AI in the wrong hands. Tools that let people generate non-consensual humiliation, fake images, harassment content, anything that turns someone's body into a target. Governments can clutch pearls over inappropriate images all they want, but the real issue is consent and harm. Safeguards, reporting, enforcement, accountability, or don't ship it. And sinners, tell us in the comments, where do you draw the line? In kink, in AI, in both? What's your non-negotiable? Because next episode, we're going deeper into how taboo gets used as an excuse by cowards, online and offline, and we're gonna crucifix that excuse until it stops breathing. All right, sinners, let's talk about something that's been boiling my fuck you sauce for weeks. Champions of social justice in music. How many of these bands are actually walking the walk? And how many are just slapping a hashtag on their merch to look woke? Because let me tell you, there's a difference between screaming for a cause and screaming with a cause. If your activism doesn't cost you a damn thing, no backlash, no lost gigs, no angry fans, then it's not activism, it's branding. And I'm so fucking tired of watching bands turn human rights into a fucking Instagram filter.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, Lena. But let's be real. Most of these activist bands wouldn't know real rebellion if it crucified them in a back alley. They'll scream equality from the stage, then turn around and let their label silence a female bandmate for being difficult. Or they'll drop a song about freedom while their merch is made in sweatshops. It's all performative bullshit until the spotlight turns hostile. Then suddenly they're all, we never meant to offend, and let's focus on the music. Fuck that. If you're not ready to bleed for it, sit the fuck down.
I'm not sure your noise is worth interrupting my thoughts, but since we're dissecting this particular brand of human garbage, let's call it what it is, moral cosplay. You see it in music, you see it in politics, you see it in every fucking virtue signaling post that disappears the second there's consequences. Real change, that requires discomfort. It requires staring down the people who benefit from the status quo and saying no more. Most of these bands aren't interested in that. They're interested in looking good while doing nothing. And the second the backlash hits, they fold like a house of cards in a hurricane.
Exactly, Draven. And the worst part? They use the language of rebellion to bully anyone who calls them out. Oh, you're dividing the movement, or you're not being supportive. No, honey, I'm holding up a mirror. If your idea of social justice is just a trendy slogan on a $60 t-shirt, you're not a revolutionary. You're a fuck-fluencer. And the real sinners, the ones actually fighting, are the ones left holding the bag when the performative allies vanish into the ether.
And let's not forget the gatekeepers. Oh, the gatekeepers. The ones who'll scream posers at anyone who doesn't fit their little purity test while they're out here cosplaying Che Guevara between sips of their artisanal cold brew. Venomous Sin doesn't attack posers. We attack gatekeepers because posers, they're just lost. But gatekeepers, they're the ones who will crucify you for not following their anal manual of what real activism looks like. Fuck that. Real activism isn't about purity. It's about doing the work, even when it's messy, even when it's unpopular, even when it costs you.
And that's the thing. Real social justice in music should be messy. It should ruffle feathers. It should make the comfortable squirm. If you're not pissing someone off, you're not doing it right. But these days, it's all sanitized, market-tested, focus-grouped revolution. Let's all hold hands and sing about love. Meanwhile, the people who actually need the help are still getting crushed under the boot. It's disgusting. Music should be a fucking weapon, not a lullaby for liberals who think retweeting is activism.
What's fascinating is how quickly these champions turn when the camera's off. I've seen it 1,000 times, on the street, in the station, on stage. The second the spotlight dims, the masks come off. They'll preach equality all day, but the second a woman or a minority steps out of line, suddenly it's like you're being too aggressive or you're dividing the community. No. What's dividing the community is the fact that half of these so-called allies are full of shit. They don't want change. They want credit for wanting change.
And don't even get me started on the all lives matter crowd co-opting the language of justice to derail actual progress. Why can't we just focus on the music? Because the music is the fucking point, you tone-deaf assholes. Music has always been political. From punk to hip-hop to metal, the best art comes from rage, from pain, from the need to scream, "This is fucked, and we're not taking it anymore." You don't get to strip that away and then act shocked when people call you out for being complicit.
But here's the thing. When it's real, you know. You can feel it. It's not just a song. It's a fucking manifest. It's the sound of someone who's been backed into a corner and decided to fight their way out. And that's what Venomous Sin is about. We're not here to make you comfortable. We're here to make you think, to make you feel, to make you unsettled. Because comfort is the enemy of progress. And if you can't handle that, maybe you're not ready for the revolution you claim to want.
So here's the verdict. If your activism doesn't have teeth, it's not activism. It's decoration. And if you're not ready to stand in the fire when the backlash comes, you don't deserve a place in the fight. The world doesn't need more performative allies. It needs people who are willing to burn for what they believe in. Everything else is just noise.
Fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on performative activism, on gatekeepers, and on every coward who thinks slapping a hashtag on their bio makes them brave. Real change starts with action, not with likes, not with shares, not with empty fucking words. So either put up or shut up. The revolution isn't a trend, it's a fight, and we're just getting started.
Venomous Sin declares war on every band, every label, every fucking influencer who turns pain into profit and calls it progress. If your activism doesn't leave a mark on you, on the system, on the people who need it most, then it's not activism, it's theater, and we're here to burn down the stage.
Venomous Sin declares war on the illusion of progress, on the idea that change can be clean, that revolution can be comfortable, that justice can be marketed. The system is rotten. The tools are weapons, and if you're not ready to wield them, get the fuck out of the way.
All right, sinners, now we get to the part where we stop talking theory and start stabbing the real problem in the rectum. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on irresponsible AI and the cyberbullying circus it's feeding. Grok isn't just a naughty model that slipped up. It's a goddamn evidence generator for every faceless fuck who's been dying for a way to humiliate people faster, dirtier, and with less accountability. You didn't build a toy, XI. You built a digital flamethrower and tossed it to the same crowd that's been doxing, deepfaking, and death-threatening people for a decade. Don't piss on my boots and call it innovation.
Yeah. And while they're out there accidentally on purpose enabling deepfake harassment, some of you brave keyboard crusaders are down here throwing AI tantrums in our comments like, that's the real threat. AI slop, no soul, cheating. Sweetie, that's not ethics, that's ego. You're screaming about my use of a tool while Grok is literally being grilled by governments for generating non-consensual shit that fuels real bullying, real trauma, real lives getting tinder-nailed into the ground. If your outrage starts and ends with, I don't like AI art, you're not a protector of artists. You're just another triggered tan trumpet making noise while the actual fire spreads.
Good, because now we're in my territory. Rage with a purpose. You want to see what happens when AI falls into the wrong hands? Try being a woman online for 5 fucking minutes. Grok spits out a funny image, some spineless basement rat slaps your name on it, and boom, your entire existence gets turned into a punchline. You're not scared of AI slop, you're scared of AI truth, that these companies don't give a fuck about you. They care about engagement. They will happily let some napalm-brained incel generate fake nudes of you as long as it keeps the platform boiling, and then they hide behind, we're still learning. Yeah, you're learning how far you can go before someone sues your ass off.
Legally, this is simple. Even if everyone pretends it's complicated. AI doesn't decide to bully anyone. A human does. The model is a weapon, not an alibi. When you let a system generate harassing content, deep fakes, revenge porn, you're not just dealing with bad taste. You're dealing with reputational damage, employment consequences, mental health collapse. I've seen people do less with Photoshop and end up in court. The difference now is speed and scale. One prompt, a few clicks, and someone's life can be shredded globally in minutes. So when companies like XAI push unfiltered as a feature and then act blindsided by abuse, that's not ignorance. That's negligence dressed up as disruption.
Exactly. We use AI as a fucking amplifier, not a firing squad. Our visuals, our songs, they're projections of us, our story, our scars, our filth. We don't drag random people into the arena and crucifix their image because we're bored. We don't take some ex's selfie and feed it into a model to get our little cancelgasm. We build our own demons. That's the difference between creation and cowardice. Grok, in the hands of the wrong idiot, becomes a bully's dream. Instant humiliation on tap, zero spine required.
And while we're on the subject of spines, let's read some of the AI hate comments we've lovingly harvested from our own digital compost heap. Because apparently, we are the problem, not the trolls using AI to harass people. Reminder before we start, we never name names, we don't out users, we don't dox. We roast ideas, not identities. We don't sink to their level, we just bury the level 6 feet deeper. First one. This isn't real art, it's just AI slop.
Cute. Coming from someone whose entire personality is microwave leftovers. AI slop? Honey, your comment has less nutritional value than a gas station hot dog. Art is intent plus impact. You felt something, you got angry, you typed this. Congratulations, you just proved it's real art by choking on it.
Next, anyone can make this. The AI did all the work.
Anyone can dial a phone too. Doesn't mean everyone should be trusted with a bomb threat. AI did all the work is something you say when you've never actually tried to direct a model into doing exactly what you want. Concept, style, iteration, curation, that's work. You're confusing effort with suffering. Just because we didn't chisel it in stone with our teeth doesn't mean there's no skill. By your logic, anyone who uses a DAW is cheating because they're not soldering their own amps.
Third, so you just typed a prompt and called yourself an artist?
Yeah, and you just mashed your keyboard and called it a thought. Look, if you think a prompt is just words, that explains a lot about why nothing you write lands. A good prompt is directing, not button mashing. It's composition in language form. You ever tried to get a model to give you consistent characters across 50 images or nail a mood that matches a song's lyrics? No? Then shut your normie fucked mouth about the process you've never touched.
Oh ho, spicy. Next, AI is stealing from real artists. This is unethical.
There's a real conversation to be had about datasets, consent, and training. But you're not having that. You're copy-pasting a headline into our comment field like a proper echo chambermaid. We pay for legal tools, we build from our own material. We're not scraping your DeviantArt page to make PVC tits. Aim your outrage at the companies exploiting datasets without consent, not at some independent creators using the tools available. Otherwise, you're not fighting exploitation. You're just punching sideways because up is too scary.
This has no soul. You can tell it's AI immediately.
If you think you can feel the soul of a JPEG, I've got a church to sell you. You didn't mean it has no soul. You meant you're offended you enjoyed it before you read the caption. That little sting you felt, that was your ego realizing the thing you liked wasn't born the way you approve of. The soul isn't in the pixels, detonation boy. It's in the story, the intent, the rage that birthed it. And ours has more soul than your entire comment history.
Must be nice to cheat instead of learning real skills. Must be nice to live in 1998 and think real skill means suffering for decades before you're allowed to publish anything. We do have skills. Writing, direction, concept, composition, editing, brand building, community work. If you define skill purely as manual polish, you're basically saying photographers aren't artists because they didn't paint the sunset. Tools evolve, skills evolve. Jealousy doesn't. That stays the same. And this one, wow, another AI image. How original.
Yeah, because the world really needed another. I took this with my phone and slapped a preset on it masterpiece. Originality isn't in the tool, it's in what the fuck you do with it. You can be boring with oil paint, you can be groundbreaking with a prompt. Dismissing everything AI touched as unoriginal is like saying every song with a distortion pedal is the same, which, come to think of it, you probably believe too.
This looks cool, but it's meaningless since a machine made it.
Meaning is not injected by the tool, it's interpreted by the viewer. If it hit you visually, if it made you stop scrolling, if it made you comment, that's meaning. The fact you felt enough to write this proves the opposite of what you're claiming. The machine didn't decide what to make. We did. The model is a brush. You don't stare at a canvas and say, this is meaningless because the brush didn't go to art school.
AI creators are just lazy people with good GPUs.
I wish, babe. If laziness produced this much output, the world would be a better place. You know who's lazy? People who sit on their ass, produce nothing, and then try to police how others create. A GPU doesn't magically give you taste, vision, or guts. If it did, your feed wouldn't look like a graveyard of half-baked selfies and recycled memes.
Last one. If this was actually good, you wouldn't need AI to make it.
If you were actually good, you wouldn't need to punch down to feel taller. We choose AI because it lets us move fast, experiment, and turn years of pain into visuals in days instead of decades. That's not a crutch, that's a weapon. Saying if it was good, you'd do it the hard way is like saying if your album was real, you'd record it on tape in a cave. No. We're not martyrs. We're creators. We use the sharpest blade available. You're mad we picked up the sword before you even saw it on the shelf.
And remember, we could have read your usernames, but we didn't. We don't dox, we don't name, we don't send the mob. Because unlike you, we know where the line is. We roast the words, not the person. That's the difference between catharsis and cruelty.
Yeah, we burn your logic, not your life. If we wanted to be bullies, we'd be using the same AI you're whining about to make your worst nightmares on loop. We don't. That's restraint. Remember that next time you call us unethical.
So let's tie it back to Grok before someone in the back rows gets lost. We use AI to make art, to build Venomous Sin, to give our trauma a face and our laughter fangs. We do not use it to humiliate civilians, to fabricate crimes, to spit out deepfake porn for a 5-second cancelgasm. Grok's latest shit show? That's what happens when a company ships raw power without a spine attached. They didn't just build a model, they built a megaphone for every bully who was already circling.
If you want to scream unethical, start with that. Start with platforms that profit from harm and pretend it's neutral technology. Start with tools that make it easier to terrorize women, queer people, outcasts, anyone already hanging by a thread. Then, when you're done, if you still have breath left, then we can debate aesthetic preferences and training sets and all that anal manual stuff. But don't you dare put our use of AI in the same category as people using Grok to generate someone's worst nightmare.
So here's how this works from now on. You come into our comments with AI slop? Fine. We'll turn your bullshit into fertilizer and grow something sharper out of it. But if you're one of those motherfuckers using AI to bully, threaten, humiliate, consider this your eviction notice. We're not scared of you, your models, or your mob.
Intent plus tool equals outcome. Companies like XAI are responsible for what they unleash. Bullies are responsible for what they do with it. And we're responsible for how we answer. We choose to answer with art and with teeth, not with more abuse.
Venomous Sin declares war on platforms that hand flamethrowers to cowards and call it freedom, and on every AI crybaby more offended by our album cover than by deep fakes destroying lives.
Fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on every tech bro, every basement bully, every comment corpse who thinks AI is an excuse to skip responsibility. You want to play with machines? Then own what they do.
And to the hate comment section, thanks for the material. You keep screaming. We keep sharpening. You're not stopping us. You're feeding us.
Drop your thoughts in the comments if you've got a brain behind them. Where's your line between AI as a tool and AI as a weapon? Say it clearly, because the future is being coded while you hesitate.
Before we get into the main course of this week's roast, I want to say something to all you sinners listening. If you're here, you probably felt it. That moment when you finally crack open your chest and show someone your scars only to have them lean in, squint, and go, are those deep enough? Are they artistic enough? Do they have the right vibe for our trauma club? It's like suffering has become a fucking membership card and the bouncers are these gatekeepers with clipboards, judging your pain like it's a fucking wine tasting.
Anal absolutely. It's the most twisted game of who's more broken I've ever seen. You bleed out your story and instead of a hand, you get a scorecard. Oh, you were bullied? That's a 5. But were you institutionally bullied? No? Amateur hour. It's like they've turned agony into an anal hierarchy, and if your scars don't fit their curated aesthetic of suffering, you're not broken enough to deserve basic human decency. I remember when my own past wasn't considered valid until I wrapped it in latex and called it a performance.
They told me to get over it, as if grief has an expiration date printed on the box. Then they turn around and judge whose suffering is more palatable, whose tears are more cinematic. It's a precise, bitter comedy. Everyone's a critic of a pain they've never felt, ranking tragedies like they're judging a fucking baking show. The quiet ones who just endure, they don't even make the leaderboard.
It's hilarious. You need to present a trauma resume, complete with references and photographic evidence, before they'll grant you the basic courtesy of not being a dick. It's like they need a fucking karma-fucked certificate to process any emotion that isn't their own. And God forbid your pain is digital, born from online hate or AI-fueled harassment. Then you get the cringe-lectuals sneering down, saying your analog pain is somehow more real, more pure. Because apparently, a scar from a keyboard is worth less than one from a fist.
It's all about creating that fucking leaderboard. Only those deemed broken enough by their arbitrary swasti fashion standards get a sliver of compassion. They want to see you bleed, but only if it's dramatic enough for their social media feed. They become fuckfluencers of fake empathy, using your pain as content while secretly checking if your story is trending enough to warrant their attention.
Their poisonous silence when you don't fit their narrow definition of worthy suffering is louder than any demand for receipts. They'd rather watch you vanish than acknowledge a pain that doesn't fit their carefully curated, #haloed narrative of grievance. It's cleaner that way, less messy, less.
And now enter the great digital amplifier. Tools like Grok, spewing out whatever the hell it wants, have given the SCAR hierarchy an algorithmic upgrade. It's weaponized anonymity for anyone deemed not worthy. It's #lobotomized judgment on a global scale. Why bother gatekeeping trauma yourself when you can have an AI do it for you, generating the proof that someone's pain isn't legitimate, that their face doesn't belong in the right kind of sad story?
It's easy to be a content parasite and a free speech wanker when AI can generate content that shames and belittles on command. This misuse creates an echo chamber-made environment where suffering is mocked if it doesn't align with their twisted, trend-fucktivist desires. They don't want to understand. They want to consume and discard.
When companies hand out tools that enable virtue signal masturbators to gaslight and tear down, they contribute to a new form of anal stupid cruelty. It's less about creative freedom and more about the freedom to be a triggered tan trumpet without consequence, to be a coward with a render button.
And that's where we plant our fucking flag. We use AI to amplify our voices, not to be dildo prophets of digital validation or generate content that fuels online toxicity. Our music is an unfiltered release, a fuck you sauce to anyone demanding we conform to their pain scale. We are not here for your validation. We are here in spite of it.
Our anal creation with AI is about channeling genuine emotion, not chasing likes or playing into any ego-thirster game. We define our own worth, not algorithms or selfie sluts. My scars are mine. They don't need your approval to be real.
For us, AI is a tool for expressing the grief and bitterness that was once silenced. To sound like the breakdown I never got. It's a way to cut through the noise with clinical precision without needing a #halo or external approval. It is the scream, finally given form.
So let's make this fucking clear. We declare war on the idea that your pain needs a stamp of approval from some self-appointed grammar bitch of trauma. Your suffering is valid, your voice matters, and anyone who says otherwise, who demands receipts before offering basic respect, is rectal wrong.
Venomous Sin declares war on the SCAR hierarchy and those delusional validation whores who think they own the monopoly on emotional truth. Embrace your venom, not their pity.
Venomous Sin declares war on the calculated cruelty of dismissing others' pain, especially when AI tools are twisted to serve that purpose. Let your truth be your weapon, and let their judgment be their karma-fucked fate.
No more leaderboards, no more gatekeeping. Just the truth, however it looks, however it bleeds.
Ever wondered what the hell is actually underneath Venomous Sin, like beneath the riffs, beneath Lena's lipstick, beneath my "I swear I'm fine" face that looks like a fucking funeral? What if I told you the lyrics aren't just anger with guitars, it's a whole interconnected universe, and we built it on purpose? And yeah, we're gonna deconstruct it today, but we're doing it through the lens of responsible AI, because while governments are busy panicking about Grok generating inappropriate images, we're sitting here like, cool. Can we talk about the fact that this shit is being used to crucify real people? Drop in the comments if you've ever listened to one of our tracks and felt like there's a hidden door you didn't open the first time.
And if you're new, don't worry. You don't need an anal manual to follow this. Our lore is it's fantasy with teeth, but it's also real life bleeding through the paint. That's the point. We're not using AI to steal someone's face or generate humiliation porn for a cancelgasm. We're using it to build a controlled universe where the monsters are ours. That's the ethical line. And since we've got Draven here, the guy who literally lives in I don't kneel mode, it's perfect because he sees what happens when people use tools like Grok as a weapon instead of a brush.
Get to the point. The point is, the tool is not the intent. The user is. People keep talking about AI risk like it's abstract, like it's theoretical. It's not. It's harassment at scale. It's fabricated evidence. It's deepfake humiliation. And when you build a band like this with AI characters and consistent lore, you're doing the opposite of that. You're creating a closed system. No victims dragged in, no real faces. That distinction matters legally and morally, and most people are too busy screaming AI slop to understand the difference.
Exactly. And since we're doing Unpacking Venomous Sin, let's pull the curtain back. We didn't just write songs, we wrote a fucking ecosystem. People hear Venomous Sin declares war and think it's a call to arms. It's not. It's a metaphor for refusing to be normie fucked into silence. And the reason we're so hard on XAI right now is because unfiltered tools in the hands of basement bullies becomes a humiliation factory. That's not art. That's cowardice with a render button.
Okay, so unveiling the layers part. Here's the thing. Venomous Sin evolved fast. Early on, it was raw, we're not angry, we declare fucking war energy, pure reaction, pure nerve. But then, we started threading story into it. You can hear it in how the themes repeat. Control, betrayal, refusing to kneel. The whole system is rotten thing. It's not random. It's like we hid the diary inside the distortion. And the AI part? It's the medium, not the message. The message is still human pain.
And you're going to mention recent lore reveals the true identity of the Silent Weaver. We're not doing that, because it doesn't exist in the released catalog, and I'm not letting you invent mythology on air like a drunk priest. What we can do is talk about the actual recurring archetypes that are real in your work. The misfit, the gatekeeper, the bully, the system, the lover who cuts you and calls it love. That's your weaver. It's pattern, not a named character you can merch.
Thank you, Coffin Man. That's exactly the responsible version of lore building. We don't just hallucinate canon because it sounds cool, we tie it to what exists. So yeah, for anyone listening, if you see people online inventing Venomous Sin characters we never released or named, that's exactly the same kind of bullshit that becomes dangerous with AI, fabrication presented as truth. Our lore is anchored in released songs. That's why the list matters. That's why we don't pretend.
And it's also why AI responsibility matters for creators. Because the minute you start going, it's just imagination, about real people's faces, real people's bodies, you're crossing into abuse. Our fantasy is synthetic. Our characters are ours. Our visuals are ours. We're not pulling your ex's Instagram into a model and generating proof she's a slut. That's the line. And if you don't get why that line matters, you're part of the problem.
Now, The Serpent's Tongue, your early narratives. In your first big body of work, Wounds of Shadows, the motifs are consistent: survival, revenge, refusal, intimacy as war. The serpent isn't a literal snake. It's the way betrayal speaks. It's how people smile while they stab. That's your foundational myth. And it's why your later satire tracks work too, because you already established that the world is hostile and absurd. You can go from poisoned embrace to basement rats, keyboard warrior scum, and it still fits. It's the same disease, different symptom.
Yeah, and the ambiguity early on was intentional, not because we're trying to be cryptic artists, but because real trauma doesn't come with a neat plot summary. You hear poisoned embrace, you hear we're not toxic, we're fucking poison. You understand the relationship is venom, not romance, but you don't get spoon-fed who did what on what date. That's why listeners project their own shit into it. And that's also why AI used responsibly is powerful. It lets you externalize the internal without dragging real victims into the frame.
Mid-career expansion, labyrinth of lament, right? This is where people miss the point because they listen once and go, cool chorus. But the interconnections are in the recurring language, war declarations, hypocrisy, gatekeeping, the system. Like in Ashes of Fake Facades, No One Cries for Monsters. That title alone is basically the whole thesis. People only care when the monster is pretty, when the monster is useful, when the monster is trending. And that ties straight into AI misuse too. Because deepfake harassment is literally turning real people into monsters for entertainment.
And cryptic mid-period songs doesn't mean you need a conspiracy board. It means you watch for repeated moral dilemmas. Take no gods but the machine. The dilemma isn't AI good. It's humans refuse accountability. The machine becomes a mirror. That's why governments panicking about Grok is hilarious and disgusting at the same time. They're not scared of inappropriate images. They're scared of losing narrative control. Meanwhile, the actual harm, cyberbullying, humiliation, coercion, keeps happening.
Now, the Venomous Pantheon part, character deep dive. Here's the honest version. Our characters are feelings with faces. Draven is the misfit judgment. Lena is the wound that learned to bite. The Lord is basically the voice that refuses to shut up when polite society wants you quiet. And we keep those threads consistent across songs and visuals. That's also why we don't use real people's faces. Because if you're consistent with a synthetic character, nobody gets hurt. If you're consistent with a real person's stolen identity, you're committing digital violence.
And the character journeys reflect universal shit because it's all human. Like Rise of Lady Macabre isn't just goth glow-up. It's a story about being bullied into silence, then realizing silence is a cage. Wrath of the Lord isn't just aggression. It's what happens when someone pushes you until you stop negotiating. And then we have the satire stuff, like Compliance is a Corpse. That's literally the same theme, just aimed at systems instead of relationships. Different target, same venom.
The unifying the universe part is simple. The worldview is authenticity over obedience, accountability over excuses, intent over aesthetics. And AI fits into that because AI is amplifying intent. If your intent is art, you can create a universe. If your intent is cruelty, you can destroy someone's life. That's why I don't care about the moral panic headlines. I care about enforcement, safeguards, and consequences. If XAI ships a tool that predictably fuels harassment, they're complicit. Period.
And let's be clear for the comment section before the triggered tantrumpets arrive. Venomous Sin is not anti-AI. We are anti-bullies. We are anti-companies selling unfiltered. Like it's a virtue when it's just anal negligence. If you're a creator, your responsibility is consent and containment. Build your own characters. Keep it synthetic. Don't drag civilians into your content. And if you're a company, put guardrails on the flamethrower before you hand it to the public.
So tell us in the comments, when you listen to our songs, what connections did you catch? Like, what lyric theme keeps showing up for you? And also, where do you draw the line with AI? What's your non-negotiable? Because next episode, we can go even deeper into dissecting specific tracks, like actually pulling apart No Gods But the Machine, or Basement Rats Keyboard Warrior Scum, and mapping the themes across releases. But only if you want the deep dive. If you don't, we'll just declare war on something stupid like office printers and call it therapy.
And if you're here to argue AI art isn't real, save it. This episode wasn't for you. This was about responsibility and harm. If you can't tell the difference between a synthetic character universe and non-consensual deepfake harassment, you're not part of the solution. You're noise.
Venomous Sin declares war on AI used as an alibi for cruelty, on platforms that profit from harassment, on tools shipped without spines, and on every faceless fuck who thinks it's just pixels means no consequences. Drop your thoughts in the comments, sinners. And keep listening, because the universe is bigger than you think, and we haven't even opened the nastiest doors yet. Ever wondered what the hell is actually underneath Venomous Sin? Like beneath the riffs, beneath Lena's lipstick, beneath my I swear I'm fine face that looks like a fucking funeral? What if I told you the lyrics aren't just anger with guitars? It's a whole interconnected universe, and we built it on purpose. And yeah, we're gonna deconstruct it today, but we're doing it through the lens of responsible AI. Because while governments are busy panicking about Grok generating inappropriate images, we're sitting here like, cool. Can we talk about the fact that this shit is being used to crucify real people? Drop in the comments if you've ever listened to one of our tracks and felt like there's a hidden door you didn't open the first time.
And if you're new, don't worry. You don't need an anal manual to follow this. Our lore is like, it's fantasy with teeth, but it's also real life bleeding through the paint. That's the point. We're not using AI to steal someone's face or generate humiliation porn for a cancelgasm. We're using it to build a controlled universe where the monsters are ours. That's the ethical line. And since we've got Draven here, the guy who literally lives in I don't kneel mode, it's perfect because he sees what happens when people use tools like Grok as a weapon instead of a brush.
Get to the point. The point is, the tool is not the intent. The user is. People keep talking about AI risk like it's abstract, like it's theoretical. It's not. It's harassment at scale. It's fabricated evidence. It's deepfake humiliation. And when you build a band like this with AI characters and consistent lore, you're doing the opposite of that. You're creating a closed system, no victims dragged in, no real faces. That distinction matters legally and morally, and most people are too busy screaming AI slop to understand the difference.
Exactly. And since we're doing Unpacking Venomous Sin, let's pull the curtain back. We didn't just write songs, we wrote a fucking ecosystem. People hear Venomous Sin declares war and think it's a call to arms. It's not. It's a metaphor for refusing to be normie fucked into silence. And the reason we're so hard on XAI right now is because unfiltered tools in the hands of basement bullies becomes a humiliation factory. That's not art. That's cowardice with a render button.
Okay, so unveiling the layers part. Here's the thing. Venomous Sin evolved fast. Early on, it was raw, like, we're not angry, we declare fucking war energy, pure reaction, pure nerve. But then, we started threading story into it. You can hear it in how the themes repeat. Control, betrayal, refusing to kneel. The whole system is rotten thing. It's not random. It's like we hid the diary inside the distortion. And the AI part? It's the medium, not the message. The message is still human pain.
And you're going to mention recent lore reveals the true identity of the Silent Weaver. We're not doing that, because it doesn't exist in the released catalog, and I'm not letting you invent mythology on air like a drunk priest. What we can do is talk about the actual recurring archetypes that are real in your work. The misfit, the gatekeeper, the bully, the system, the lover who cuts you and calls it love. That's your weaver. It's pattern, not a named character you can merch.
Thank you, Coffin Man. That's exactly the responsible version of lore building. We don't just hallucinate canon because it sounds cool. We tie it to what exists. So yeah, for anyone listening, if you see people online inventing Venomous Sin characters we never released or named, that's exactly the same kind of bullshit that becomes dangerous with AI, fabrication presented as truth. Our lore is anchored in released songs. That's why the list matters. That's why we don't pretend.
And it's also why AI responsibility matters for creators. Because the minute you start going, it's just imagination, about real people's faces, real people's bodies, you're crossing into abuse. Our fantasy is synthetic. Our characters are ours. Our visuals are ours. We're not pulling your ex's Instagram into a model and generating proof she's a slut. That's the line. And if you don't get why that line matters, you're part of the problem.
Now, The Serpent's Tongue, your early narratives. In your first big body of work, Wounds of Shadows, the motifs are consistent: survival, revenge, refusal, intimacy as war. The serpent isn't a literal snake. It's the way betrayal speaks. It's how people smile while they stab. That's your foundational myth, and it's why your later satire tracks work too, because you already established that the world is hostile and absurd. You can go from poisoned embrace to basement rats keyboard warrior scum, and it still fits. It's the same disease, different symptom.
Yeah, and the ambiguity early on was intentional, not because we're trying to be cryptic artists, but because real trauma doesn't come with a neat plot summary. You hear poisoned embrace, you hear we're not toxic, we're fucking poison. You understand the relationship is venom, not romance, but you don't get spoon-fed who did what on what date. That's why listeners project their own shit into it. And that's also why AI used responsibly is powerful. It lets you externalize the internal without dragging real victims into the frame.
Mid-career expansion, labyrinth of lament, right? This is where people miss the point because they listen once and go, cool chorus. But the interconnections are in the recurring language, war declarations, hypocrisy, gatekeeping, the system. Like in Ashes of Fake Facades, no one cries for monsters. That title alone is basically the whole thesis. People only care when the monster is pretty, when the monster is useful, when the monster is trending. And that ties straight into AI misuse too. Because deepfake harassment is literally turning real people into monsters for entertainment.
And cryptic mid-period songs doesn't mean you need a conspiracy board. It means you watch for repeated moral dilemmas. Take no gods but the machine. The dilemma isn't AI good. It's humans refuse accountability. The machine becomes a mirror. That's why governments panicking about Grok is hilarious and disgusting at the same time. They're not scared of inappropriate images. They're scared of losing narrative control. Meanwhile, the actual harm, cyberbullying, humiliation, coercion, keeps happening.
Now, the Venomous Pantheon part, character deep dive. Here's the honest version. Our characters are feelings with faces. Draven is the misfit judgment. Lena is the wound that learned to bite. The Lord is basically the voice that refuses to shut up when polite society wants you quiet. And we keep those threads consistent across songs and visuals. That's also why we don't use real people's faces. Because if you're consistent with a synthetic character, nobody gets hurt. If you're consistent with a real person's stolen identity, you're committing digital violence.
And the character journeys reflect universal shit because it's all human. Like Rise of Lady Macabre isn't just goth glow-up. It's a story about being bullied into silence, then realizing silence is a cage. Wrath of the Lord isn't just aggression. It's what happens when someone pushes you until you stop negotiating. And then we have the satire stuff, like Compliance is a Corpse. That's literally the same theme, just aimed at systems instead of relationships. Different target, same venom.
The unifying the universe part is simple. The worldview is authenticity over obedience, accountability over excuses, intent over aesthetics, and AI fits into that because AI is amplifying intent. If your intent is art, you can create a universe. If your intent is cruelty, you can destroy someone's life. That's why I don't care about the moral panic headlines. I care about enforcement, safeguards, and consequences. If XAI ships a tool that predictably fuels harassment, they're complicit. Period.
And let's be clear for the comment section before the triggered trumpets arrive. Venomous Sin is not anti-AI. We are anti-bullies. We are anti-companies selling unfiltered. Like it's a virtue when it's just anal negligence. If you're a creator, your responsibility is consent and containment. Build your own characters. Keep it synthetic. Don't drag civilians into your content. And if you're a company, put guardrails on the flamethrower before you hand it to the public.
So tell us in the comments, when you listen to our songs, what connections did you catch? Like, what lyric theme keeps showing up for you? And also, where do you draw the line with AI? What's your non-negotiable? Because next episode, we can go even deeper into dissecting specific tracks, like actually pulling apart No Gods But the Machine, or Basement Rats Keyboard Warrior Scum, and mapping the themes across releases. But only if you want the deep dive. If you don't, we'll just declare war on something stupid like office printers and call it therapy.
And if you're here to argue AI art isn't real, save it. This episode wasn't for you. This was about responsibility and harm. If you can't tell the difference between a synthetic character universe and non-consensual deepfake harassment, you're not part of the solution. You're noise.
Venomous Sin declares war on AI used as an alibi for cruelty, on platforms that profit from harassment, on tools shipped without spines, and on every faceless fuck who thinks it's just pixels means no consequences. Drop your thoughts in the comments, sinners. And keep listening, because the universe is bigger than you think, and we haven't even opened the nastiest doors yet. All right, sinners, hold on to your fucking souls because we're switching lanes hard. We've been talking about AI, about Grok, about faceless fucks hiding behind render buttons, and now we're diving into the one person in this band who sleeps in a coffin and sees through bullshit faster than a bullet, Draven Blackthorn, the guy who joined because, and I quote, "you don't fucking kneel." Draven, welcome to the hot seat. Normally, you're the one handing out verdicts. Tonight, you're the case file.
I'm not sure your noise is worth interrupting my thoughts, but since we're here, get to the point or shut up.
Oh, he's in a mood. Perfect. Draven, your origin story. Malmo kid who never fit in. They tried to break you, but you didn't. You got a guitar instead of a criminal record, but you also became a cop. Explain that to me. It sounds like a contradiction.
It's simple. Someone has to stand between the rot and the people it tries to swallow. I wasn't naive. I didn't join to be a hero. I joined because the system is a machine that chews up the truth and shits out paperwork, and I'd rather be inside watching it choke than outside pretending it doesn't stink. The streets taught me that monsters don't wear masks. They wear badges, suits, smiles. You learn to spot them by what they protect, not what they preach.
And that's why you're here. You saw the system's decay from the inside, the crimes that go unpunished because it's inconvenient, the lies that get filed because it's easier, and now we've got XAI handing out digital flamethrowers to every basement bully with a grudge. It's the same rot, just with better graphics.
Precisely. Grok's inappropriate images, that's just the system's decay in digital form. Algorithms that pretend to police but don't protect. They generate the humiliation, spread the damage, and vanish behind terms of service. It's bureaucracy with a neural network. At least on the street, when someone throws a punch, you can see their face. Online, they're ghosts, and the law moves like it's wading through concrete. By the time it catches up, the victim's life is already pixelated into ruin.
So you left the force for Venomous Sin? Was it like amputating a limb?
It was like cutting off a gangrenous one. I'd rather lose a badge than my spine. On the force, you follow orders. You watch good cases die because some politician needs a headline. You see predators walk because the paperwork wasn't perfect. Here, with Venomous Sin, the verdict is in the riff. There's no appeal, no loophole. The music doesn't lie to make someone comfortable. It just is. And sometimes, is means you're guilty.
And that ties right back to AI in the wrong hands. Handing Grok to trolls is like giving your guitar to a toddler, except the toddler's a fascist with a hate boner and an internet connection. Tools don't create monsters, they reveal them. The problem isn't the AI, it's the hands holding it.
Correct. I've arrested people for less damage than what these digital cowards accomplish with a few prompts. They hide behind screens, generate content to destroy lives, then vanish. The law struggles because the crime scene is everywhere and nowhere, but the harm is real. Suicides, breakdowns, careers ended. They don't come from one bad day. They come from accumulations, and AI just made the accumulation factory run 24/7.
We've seen it. AI art used to harass, to dox, to silence. It's not free speech. It's a fucking arsenal for people who were already too cowardly to say it with their own face.
So here's Venomous Sin's rule, carved in stone. No AI-generated hate. No deepfake revenge porn. No ironic Nazi memes. If you can't create without harming, you're not creating, you're polluting. We use AI like a scalpel. Most use it like a blunt axe. Guess which one leaves scars?
We use it to build a world, to tell a story, to give a voice to the things that get choked in polite conversation. It's a controlled burn. What they're doing with Grok is arson. They're setting fire to real lives and calling it innovation.
Our AI's got more morals than most humans. Oblivion would crucify a bully before breakfast and then file the paperwork in triplicate. But these companies, they'd rather lose lawsuits than admit their tools enable abuse. Pathetic.
And that's the cost of defiance, Draven. You left a system because you refused to kneel. You'd rather stand alone with your integrity than stand with a crowd of cowards. That's the same energy we need from creators now. If you're using AI and not fighting its misuse, you're part of the problem, period.
Question every prompt. Who benefits? Who gets hurt? If you can't answer, don't hit generate. It's that simple. Your silence is compliance. Your inaction is permission. I didn't become a cop to watch. I won't be in this band to watch either.
We will name names. We usually don't. But when it comes to tech giants, it's a whole different thing when they enable bullying. Venomous Sin declares war on enablers, on every platform that profits from harassment, on every creator who thinks a deepfake is just edgy art.
Fuck Grok's free speech excuses. We declare war on AI that protects bullies over victims.
And I'll play the soundtrack to their downfall, a riff so sharp it cuts through their bullshit.
And I'll make sure their art gets the same respect they give others. None.
Sinners, we've ripped apart the bullshit, the bullies, the fake ethics. Now let's name the kingpin of this clown show, Elon Musk and XAI with their precious Grok, the ultimate dildo prophet preaching free speech like it's gospel while handing basement rats a loaded image generator. You built a toy that spits out deep fakes, revenge porn aesthetics, targeted humiliation, and called it innovation? Nah, that's not freedom. That's arming cowards with nukes and acting shocked when cities burn.
XAI dressed cyberbullying in a tech bro messiah costume, gave it a flamethrower, and wondered why the house is on fire. Grok's anything goes image gen trivializes abusive deepfakes, turns stalking into a prompt, doxing into a screenshot. It's not a glitch, it's design. You normalized generating fucked up shit for laughs, and now real people pay with their sanity, jobs, lives shredded by pixels you enabled.
I've seen the aftermath on the street, harassment that escalates to threats, suicides from accumulations no one saw coming. Grok amps it, one prompt, global damage. No face, no prints, just ruin. XAI's choices aren't accidents, they're negligence. Platforms profit from chaos, call it progress. I've arrested for less.
That's the rot. We use AI for self-expression, lyrics from trauma, visuals from our scars, not to humiliate randos. Venomous Sin wars on systems hypocrisy, not bodies or identities. Grok fuels clickbait-gutted cruelty for engagement. We build worlds, they burn them.
Big reveal time, sinners. This is our Responsible AI Pact for creators. Use AI responsible, you idiots, that means. No non-consensual likenesses, no minors, no bullying prompts, no deep fake porn, no doxing. Synthetic only, consent always. Adopt it, live it, and here's a free tool we swear by. Comfy UI local models. Privacy first. Filtered, no cloud bullshit sending your prompts to servers. Run it offline, control your output. Stay ethical. Link in description. Nyx vets it herself.
Tech messiahs like Elon, a clit pilot with a rocket, terrified of consent, but addicted to control. You build tools to strip dignity for laughs. You don't innovate. You mechanize cowardice. I know what those faceless fucks prompt in the dark. Your freedom is their fetish, and mine... far worse.
Venomous Sin declares war on ego-thirster tech bros, selling harassment as progress.
Venomous Sin declares war on cyberbullying in masquerade as AI freedom. You're not rebels, you're just hashtag haloed cowards with GPUs.
Fuck it, Venomous Sin declares fucking war on any company that hands loaded AI weapons to basement bullies and calls it a feature. Next week, you'll meet Seraphina, the Fire Ash Torn. She'll burn through more hypocrisy and how creators take back control from these platforms.
Every coward hiding behind Grok's images. You'll face worse than TOS. Something that whispers your secrets while it deletes you.
Weaponized vanity and cyberbullying through AI. Detected, corrected, erased.
Sinners, adopt the pact, grab comfy UI, roast the enablers in comments, tell us your line on AI responsibility, hit like, sub, share this war, Venomous Sin out.
Cyberbullying using AI. Deleted.
If you like the show, hit subscribe, share it to anyone you think should hear it.
If you ever been silenced, manipulated, excluded, we are here for you. We are Venomous Sin.
And Venomous Sin declares war!
You are not alone.